Welcome to video 11.2, where we're going to shift our focus from our general framing on documentary films and film theory to recording, interpreting, and reflecting on the experiences of September 11, 2001. We'll continue with our slideshow and focus on the profound experience that was 9/11. 9/11 is a theme that virtually stands on its own. It's certainly a theme that is important in a class like War and Politics on Film. A formative event, a real world set of circumstances that all of us from then to now have tried to make sense of. The term 9/11 has almost immediate resonance on its own. And so in many ways, it's appropriate that the documentary film we're going to watch this evening is titled 9/11. This is powerful, this is political, this is societal, and this is personal. We think about 9/11 and we reflect on the experience. We think about our own lives. I wonder, of course, where you and your families might have been on September 11, 2001. I guess that many of you were very, very young, but that your families might have had experiences associated with 9/11, might have been familiar with stories or even people in your families or extended families who were directly or indirectly affected by the events of 9/11. From that forward, of course, we've all experienced, we've all lived through the contemporary war on terror. And it reminds me of a theme we started with this semester, that this is a class on war and politics on film at a time that the United States is at war. The burden of that challenge from 9/11 to the present has been, of course, manifest in the war on terror, directly in the lives of the soldiers that have served on the front lines of conflicts in places like Iraq and Afghanistan, but indirectly in all of the costs associated with the war on terror that we've discussed before. I'm also reflective of 9/11 in relation to contemporary events and circumstances as the world faces a new, seemingly surprising and powerful threat of its own in the coronavirus. I'm reminded back to some of the dynamics of the experience that occurred many years ago. On the College of Worcester campus on September 11, 2001, it was a beautiful, sunny fall day where things were continuing fairly normally in the morning of Tuesday, September 11, until news began to circulate of plane crashes at the World Trade Center towers. And then news of more wider concerns and threats began to percolate out. Classes were canceled that day at the College of Worcester and canceled for the next day as well, as all of us began to try to make sense of what had occurred. We were all shaken, of course, by the events and circumstances and by the contemporary news coverage that drew everyone in such powerful ways. But I also think about this in terms of education, understanding, and reflection. As we as educators and as our students at the College of Worcester began to come back together and reflect on how to understand and interpret this major, shocking event that would change all of our lives. The College of Worcester held a memorial service a few days after that Thursday morning, September 13, to commemorate lives lost. And then we began to hold a series of meetings, gatherings, and have conversations in our classes about how to understand the experiences, how to move forward, how to try to conceptualize, and how to recover from those experiences. It certainly was a shocking blow, a major blow, but it also forced introspection, knowledge, education, learning, as we processed and tried to understand what had occurred. It inspired some College of Worcester graduates to go immediately into public service in the military and also in the government in a variety of ways. And it inspired all of us to try to study and theorize new things and themes. Been thinking about 9/11 a lot lately as we see another generation of first responders on the front lines dealing with the surprising, unexpected, and dramatic challenge. As we see the bravery and courage, the heroism indeed, of those first responders who are willing to take action in response to major threats and uncertain times. The United States and the world are trying to show resolve, but also we're all trying to make sense of this, how to learn and grow from the experience. And that is what occurred in the aftermath of September 11, 2001. And that's what I know will occur as we process and move forward from the coronavirus pandemic outbreak of 2020. We're discussing this in a class like ours on war and politics on film tonight, because it reminds us of so many important themes that we've developed together this semester, of war and peace in general, of political science and politics and understanding government and policy, of war and remembrance theme that you all have developed, including in research and writing of your own, of the costs of war, of nationalism and patriotism, and events and circumstances associated with the outbreak of war. But let's also remember this is a study in resilience, in resolve, in trying to understand and conceptualize what has occurred, in trying to recover and move forward. This all serves as good framing for the film you're going to watch this evening called 9/11, a documentary. This film was originally released in 2002, and some have called it an accidental documentary. The film was directed and developed by brothers, Gideon and Jules Naudet, French filmmakers who were in New York City documenting some other things. What they'd actually done in the days and weeks before 9/11 occurred was they were documenting what it took for probationary firefighters to learn how to become professional firefighters and work in hook and ladder corps and engine companies around the city of Manhattan. So the first 24 minutes or so of this documentary, you'll see, are a little bit slow because they are the main story that the brothers were originally documenting of probationary firefighters and their learning and training in preparation for real active duty service. But it was during an ordinary day in the morning of September 11 that the filmmakers were out in the streets monitoring and watching firefighters go about their daily business when tragedy struck. And when the events began to unfold, they were there to document them. 9/11, a documentary, after about the first 20 or 25 minutes, then picks up in intensity and pace, where they cover exclusively developments from the inside of the Twin Towers as firefighters began to try to figure out what was going on, as they sent firefighters up the stairs to march upward to fight the fire. This film then documents the bravery and heroism and resilience of people on the front line. Finally, a content warning before I direct you to see the film, view the film, and that is that this film includes powerful images of destruction and loss. It includes profanity. It has a powerful, a gripping, a you are here feel that I want to warn you about in advance and that I encourage you to watch with caution and care. This is a film that will draw you in as a viewer, will share important messages, will educate, but also will begin to help treat with an artistic rendering the events that occurred and how we process and make sense of them. You'll see depictions of heroism and bravery. You'll see how ordinary citizens rose to the challenge. And this film seems very, very timely in light of larger events. I'll ask you now to follow the guidelines in the syllabus and watch 9/11, a documentary, using a streaming platform, as well as remember the assignments for the class, including the heroism on film essay that I've sent you. And perhaps this documentary will inspire you in that spirit. Thanks for all your attention to videos 11.1 and 11.2, and I wish you a good week and success in your academic work. Thank you. Bye-bye.